Hey gang, how's it going? Welcome to the Todd Nauck Show. I'm Todd Nauck. Thanks for tuning in. Um, Doing another art broadcast, second one this week, second one like in 2 or 3 days. So I'm on a roll. I'm on a tear here. So glad you could join me, and I hope we can have some fun. Now I asked on Twitter for some character suggestions, and I got a lot of suggestions, and a lot of them were tempting. Firestorm was tempting. X-Men Evolution Kitty Pryde is tempting. X-Men Evolution is my favorite X-Men cartoon. But there were a lot of suggestions for different characters from Captain America Civil War because that movie is debuting, I think, tonight. So I decided to draw a character from that. Now, I'm not drawing any of the characters that were suggested, unfortunately. I had a lot of Black Panthers, a lot of Captain Americas, a lot of Spideys. I've been drawing a lot of male characters today with my work, so I'm going to draw one of the female characters from Civil War. So I'm choosing to draw Scarlet Witch. So we're going to draw Scarlet Witch, and I'm going to plug right into the rig, start drawing. I'll do my best to answer any questions. As always, feel free to post questions. I can't promise I can answer them all, and I definitely can't promise I can read them all because a lot of my focus is on the art. But you are more than welcome to post your questions, and I'll do my best to answer if I can throughout the illustration, as always. So if you've been a long-time viewer of my Periscopes or watching my Periscopes on YouTube, you kind of know how it works here. If you're brand new to my Periscope channel, welcome. So glad you're here. Hope you have a good time. So let's get started. She does really fun things with her hands, and I'm hoping to capitalize on that. How was my day? My day was great. Had a great day of work, working on my new Marvel project, which I cannot say what it is yet. Marvel will be announcing that in the later in the next couple of months, sometime in maybe June at the earliest. Oh, thank you so much. I am off camera quite a bit there. See if I can readjust the camera. Thanks for the heads up, gang. There we go. Fortunately, I didn't get too much done while I was off camera. See if I can readjust this a little bit more. And this is a spoiler-free zone, folks. So if you've seen the movie already, please keep spoilers. Let's keep spoilers out of the comments just for those who haven't had a chance to tune in yet. So we want to keep this a spoiler-free zone if you've seen the movie already. I saw the movie already, and I gotta say it's a lot of fun. I do not like what my rig is doing here. Sorry about that, gang. So a lot of my focus is going into the initial layout here of the figure. So this is where a lot of the heavy lifting with the brain goes. So I might not be able to respond to many of your questions at this very moment. I'm seeing a lot of questions and comments coming by, so it's a little difficult to keep up with them all. But I really appreciate all the comments. Thanks for all the hearts I see in my peripheral view. The racing up the right-hand side of the screen. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that support. And as soon as I get a good chunk of the pose laid out, I'll probably be able to be more apt to responding to some of the questions y'all might be having or posting. So I apologize for that. It's just the nature of drawing for me. All right, I'm just about gotten this to where gotten through the heavy part of the thinking mode here, so I'll soon be able to hopefully respond to some questions and comments as we go here. I just want to make sure I get some structure down and feel comfortable with where this is heading. Okay. So how's everybody doing? Am I planning anything special for Mother's Day? Yeah, you know, do something nice for the moms, both my mother and mother-in-law. Hope you're doing something nice for your mom for Mother's Day. So everyone's doing good? Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Thanks for being so patient, gang, and understanding. So I'm just going to tighten up some of these pencils a bit, even though it's still looking pretty messy. Oh, you're drawing your mom a picture? Excellent, excellent. I hope she likes it. And if you do a good enough job, maybe she'll put it on the refrigerator, which is Mom's art gallery. Moms everywhere posting their children's pictures, hopefully of any age, on the refrigerator. What's my camera setup? It's just my iPhone on a gooseneck extendable clamp. So fairly simple. Booster Gold's on TV? I didn't know that. I'm going to have to look into that. Did they just announce a Booster Gold TV series or something like that? Oh, he's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow. Okay, well, I'm going to have to get caught up. Have I watched season 2 of Daredevil? I haven't even seen season 1 of Daredevil. I'm that far behind. I'm more behind on my TV watching than I am on my comic book reading. Just doing so many superhero shows now. Just finished Supergirl last night. I did see Punisher's getting his own series, and the Flash Supergirl crossover episode was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that episode. All right, let's try moving into some inks here. And I want to try something. I need to grab a specific... Oh, no, here it is, right here. Excellent, excellent. I'm going to start inking her effect first with a red Pigma Micron marker here. I want a color hold. Now, this is going to be challenging because I got a lot of lines here. If there's time to take this to color, it will be Copic color. Who am I drawing? I'm drawing Scarlet Witch from Captain America Civil War. Thank you for the compliments. Thank you for the kind words. Do I like Quicksilver better in the Avengers movie or in the X-Men movies? That's a great question. I don't know if I have a preference, one over the other. Do you have a preference? I am looking forward to the X-Men Apocalypse movie, yes. Would I consider my style fusion? Not quite sure what you mean by fusion. All right, now let's come in here with some regular microns, black microns. I've ever drawn Cosmo. Cosmo Kramer? Cosmo who? Not sure who, if I know who you're speaking of. Which is better, the Tom Jane Punisher or which other Punisher? I'm assuming the TV show Punisher? I don't know. I haven't watched the Punisher movies. So I can't speak to which Punisher is better. I don't have a preference. I don't have any real stake in that game there, unfortunately. Your school library has a Chris Claremont X-Men collection book. Should you pick it up? Well, if you like X-Men, I would say give it a whirl. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. But it's really, I'd say, go to your library, flip through it, and see if it grabs you. And see if it looks like something you'd like to check out. Feel free to make that call. I personally enjoy Chris Claremont's X-Men. It's what I grew up on. Who would be my four horsemen? That's a really fun question. Really interesting. Who would be my four horsemen? I don't know. I would say Apocalypse takes four X-Men villains and soups them up. So it'd be Juggernaut. Who else? Juggernaut, the Blob. No, not the Blob. That's two big guys right out of the gate. Juggernaut, definitely Juggernaut. Have I established that I want the Juggernaut to be a horseman of Apocalypse? So Juggernaut, Avalanche, let's see. So I got so focused on drawing the hands here, I lost track of my four horsemen answer. Oh, I've got two there. We got two for now. How do I decide where to start coloring, and have I ever colored before inking? I have colored before inking. And that can be a fun approach to the process, but usually I pencil, then ink, then color. And usually I think I start with like the face and the hair, because if I mess that up, then I haven't invested too much time, because the face and hair is where it's at. That's the most important parts for me. That's where the characters really, a lot of the personality comes for me. So I'll make sure I always get that right. So oftentimes I'll start with the face and hair. Which Wolverine from the comics is my favorite? 1980s Wolverine. That's my favorite. What's your favorite? Yes, the gold and brown costume is I think my favorite Wolverine costume for sure. I don't even think it is. I know it is. Have I ever drawn Drax the Destroyer? I drew a post-it note of him. And I've drawn him for the Marvel Superhero Spectacular cover, issue 1 cover. I drew Drax on that. So I've drawn Drax at least 2 or 3 times. Oh, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, early 90s Wolverine, right on. Those are good Wolverines. Old Man Logan, nice, cool, cool. What's a red Copic marker I recommend? My favorites are R24 and R27. Those two I use pretty heavily. You'll notice I've used those in most of my Copic videos. Yes, I am a freelance artist. That is correct. Whisker Wolverine, right on. So that'd be the Herb Trimpe Wolverine then. Thank you for the compliment. Jim Lee Wolverine, yes, that. Jim Lee Wolverine is awesome, for sure. Never had a chance to see the Deadpool movie. Just never got around to it. But I heard it was really fun. Oh, the 90s X-Men cartoon got you into comics. Right on. That's cool. Oh, you grew up reading the Herb Trimpe Hulk. Wow, right on. So you've probably been reading at least since the 70s. First comic was Cyclops and Jean's Weddings. Right on. Oh, John Byrne Wolverine. Excellent. Wolverine versus the Hellfire Club, I'd imagine. Ink doesn't smear with hand. Doesn't like, do you mean doesn't smear when I rub my hand across it? It can. I have to be very careful. I have to be very cautious. I have had some smudges in the past, but fortunately Pigmamicrons dry pretty quickly, which is nice. Still have to be cautious, but working on Bristol board, it tends to, from my experience, now this is just me speaking from my experience, tends to dry fast enough for me. But I do try to be cautious. How often do my Pigmamicrons run out? Depends on how much ink I gotta do on a page. So, I buy them by the bulk, so I don't really pay attention to how quickly they last, because I buy them in bulk and change out as soon as I feel I don't have enough ink or the nib is too worn out. Sometimes I can go a long time. Sometimes I burn through them every few pages. Avengers versus X-Men movie, what are my thoughts? Have they announced such a thing? Or are you just asking if that were to happen, what are my thoughts? Because if that's the question, then I think that would be awesome. I think that would be great. Should be Marvel versus Fox, that's funny. How do I approach a character like the Hulk or Rhino? Well, they're both big, massive characters, so I approach them as, with a lot of mass. I want to make sure they're big and bulky. That they carry a lot of weight. They're not going to be lithe and spindly like a Spider-Man character. They're going to move as hulking masses. So I keep that in mind. Will this be a spoiler for the movie? No, this will not. This will not. This illustration contains no spoilers. Advertising and trailers and magazines have shown that Scarlet Witch is in the movie, so I have not given that away. But this illustration is just an illustration. It does not say anything about the movie. It does not give away any plot of the movie. This is a spoiler-free zone. Yeah, that's right. Keymeister is right. This is a spoiler-free zone. So for those of us that have seen the movie, we are keeping spoilers out of this broadcast in case there are people who haven't had a chance to see it yet, which I'm imagining is a lot of people here tuning in right now. Can I recommend any non-Marvel or DC comics? Invincible. If you want something superheroes that's different than Marvel and DC, try Invincible. Bone is really cool. Jeff Smith's Bone. How do I come up with the background shapes? Usually I just do a rectangle, so it's pretty easy. Favorite celebrity that I've met? I'm blanking on the celebrities that I've met. I did get to talk to Nathan Fillion at the Avengers premiere. He passed by and I said, if you're serious about doing a Booster Gold movie, or being Booster Gold in a movie, I'm for it. I'm a big Booster Gold fan. I think you'd do great. And he smiled and said, thanks, man. And he shook my hand. And I have not washed my hands since. So if you meet me at a con and you want to feel what it feels like to shake Nathan Fillion's hand, you can shake my hand and get a second generation Nathan Fillion handshake. No plans to be at the Rhode Island Comic Con. Oh, Chris Claremont counts as a celebrity? Yes, I've met him. I've had dinner with him at conventions. Working with him for a year on Nightcrawler was a huge honor. So I thought people were talking more like TV and movie actor celebrities. If you're talking about comic book celebrities, I've met a ton and consider many of those friends. And some really good friends. How do you capture a likeness? It takes a lot of study. You really got to study the person's face and try to capture those shapes. So it's a bit more time consuming to capture likenesses, which is why I don't do as many at conventions for convention commissions. I don't even know how accurate I'm going to get Scarlet Witch here to the actress. But I've got my iPad reference up, as you can see right here. So I hope to get as close as I can, if I can. How's the weather here in California? It's quite nice. It's been a bit overcast, but I like a rainy day. Not Texas? I don't live in Texas. I used to live in Texas, but I now live in California. Drawing hair is your Achilles heel? Yeah. Ever met Chris Pacello? I certainly have. He's a great artist. Why the move? I moved to California because it was when I broke into the comic book industry to work full-time in comics. And that was in the early days of Image Comics, and I was hired by Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool. He hired me to work for him, and so I packed up and I moved to California to work in the studio, and I've been here ever since. Now, mind you, I haven't worked for Rob Liefeld since the mid-1990s, but I worked with him for a while, for about 2.5 years, and then stayed here because I met a really nice young lady, and maybe y'all have met her at the comic book conventions I attend. So that is what has kept me here in Southern California. I love Texas. I miss Texas. I'd like to move back sometime, but right now we're pretty content here in California. Do I ever use different tools than Microns when inking? Yeah. Sometimes I use multi-liners, zebra brush pens, Pentel pocket brush pens, sometimes crow quill and nib. So, yeah, definitely. Whatever it takes to get the job done. Or whatever effect I need to pull off. Have any of my creations or designs shown up in film or other media? Technically, yes. Yes, they have. My Wildguard characters were in posters on the 2nd season of King of the Nerds. My art was in the season 8 finale of Extreme Makeover Home Edition, where my art was used for a mural for a kid's classroom, his homeschool classroom. This is the 4 main Avenger heroes: Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor. So yeah, so those are some of the things I've done. Do I have any plans with Wildguard? I sure do. And I hope to have some more Wildguard for readers for the people who enjoy that book to read, hopefully later this year. So right now, my Marvel deadlines and my convention travel is taking up most of my time. Would I say no if you requested Galactus Cow with Movie Bane mask as next Saturday at Wizard World Des Moines? Yes, I would politely decline that commission request. So do have a backup suggestion, because I will decline that request. Now, if you want to spend $5,000, then yes, I will take that request. What will the next Marvel movie be? I think it's Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange is the next movie to come out from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Otherwise, it would be X-Men Apocalypse is the next Marvel characters to be in a movie. But you said Marvel movie, so I'm pretty sure you mean Marvel Cinematic Universe. Am I excited for Doctor Strange? Oh yeah, big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. Really like the show Sherlock. Do I ever struggle with getting a drawing done and just start over? Yeah, I've had to start over sometimes. There have been times where it hasn't gone right. Of course. Let's see, I'm just going to use a French curve here to get the swoop of her jacket, and nice one long clean line here. Boom. There. That took seconds. Doing that freehand would have taken me who knows how long. This is what drafting tools can help with, so if you don't have drafting tools, look into investing in some drafting tools. French curves, circle and ellipse templates. Templates? Templates. Easy for me to say. Will I ever re-release Wild Guard as a graphic novel? No plans at this time right now. I think the first miniseries, Casting Call, is still available in print, so I don't think there's a big need to re-release it. I think you can find it on Amazon.com. Am I a fan of folk music? Not really. I mean, I appreciate it, but I don't like listen to it on a regular basis. Do you like folk music? Have I ever met Ethan Castillo? Oh yeah, I've met Ethan Castillo. Ethan and his family are great. Saw him at Emerald City Comic Con. What kind of ruler is this? This is a French curve. It's like a curvy ruler. It lets you draw clean, curved lines. It's a great, great tool. Just find the right curve that you need. Match it up. Boom. Clean, curvy line. Without all the hassle. Boom and boom. Well, she's got zippers on the inside of her sleeves. I just noticed that. Let's draw that in here. Don't forget the face? Oh my gosh. I would have gone through this whole thing and forgotten her face. No, I wouldn't forget her face. But thank you for reminding me. I like to save the face for last. Let's make sure I get these pants right. Whatever Periscope an actual page, like a day in the life of, well, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. Because when I'm working on my page, it takes a lot of my focus and energy and attention. So to Periscope that would be probably too much of a distraction. So not to say it's impossible, but it'd have to be for one of my creator-owned things because it would not be good for me to broadcast a Marvel page or DC Comics page or any other publisher's page that I'm working on, because they probably would not appreciate that. They don't want me releasing stuff ahead of time. So got to keep that kind of stuff under wraps. Do I ever sell my original pages? I do. I often have original pages for sale at conventions, or you can email me, mail@wildguard.com, with any page you're interested in. If I still have it and it's for sale, we can make arrangements if the price is right for you. So I'm figuring out the shine here on the black leather pleather kind of pants she wears. I'll make sure I got that down right. How long does drawing usually take for you? Depends on what I'm drawing. Some simple drawings can take me, you know, like yeah, it depends on how much detail. I mean, if it's just a quick sketch, I can get something done in just minutes. But illustrations like this, you know, an hour to 2 to 3 hours. A page, you know, pretty much takes me a day. And that could be 8 to 12 hours in a workday. Post-it notes, those usually take me about, depending on the character and how much detail I put into it, about half an hour to 45 minutes. What's my favorite Captain America story arc? I don't know if I have a favorite Captain America story arc. What do I do with my drawings after each broadcast? It all depends. Depends on what the drawing is I'm doing. Many of them end up being sold. Either via email, someone emails me inquiring about it, or it goes into my convention portfolio and I take them to a convention and sell it at a con. So where's that French curve again? Will I be at Boston Comic Con? I will not, unfortunately. Had a great time there last year. Hopefully they'll invite me to be a guest again sometime. Love to come back. If you want to see which cons I'll be at, you can go to toddnauck.com. And I have a posting of the conventions that have been announced so far. Still a couple of more to be announced for 2016. How would I feel about doing Baltimore Comic Con in September? I mean, if they extended an invite, I'd appreciate it. I'd have to see if my schedule will allow that. I've already committed to Cincinnati Comic Con in September, and I need to confirm with Long Beach if I can make it to their convention. So my September's looking pretty booked up. But if it works out, I'd love to be a guest at Baltimore. I've heard awesome stuff about that con. Favorite brands, favorite materials, pencils, and the brands of pencils and stuff. This is going to come at you pretty fast and furious, but Unikura Toga mechanical pencil, 0.3 HB lead, Pigma Micron markers, Copic multiliners for inks, Pentel pocket brush pen, Zebra brush pen. I like to color with Copic sketch markers and watercolor. And all of these materials are listed in my videos on my YouTube channel. Not every video, at least not in all the Periscope broadcasts. I'm starting to try to do that, list which materials I use in my Periscope broadcast when I edit it for YouTube. But for my multi-part videos, though, on my channel, all those tools are listed. My channel name, it's Todd Nauck, youtube.com/Todd Nauck. Oh, yeah, you're right. I could put the description of the tools I used in the description. Yeah, it's a great idea. Can you expect any more non-Periscope YouTube videos? Yes, you can. yes, there are more to come. It's just finding the time to do it. I've got videos shot. It's just I have not had time with my work and travel schedule to edit those. Those take time to edit and record commentary, and so that delays them getting uploaded because it is so time consuming. That's why I've been posting more of the Periscope broadcasts, because they're pretty much one and done videos. So that makes them easier to upload. It's content that's already been produced. I just have to do a couple of quick edits on my phone, and then I can upload them. Can I do more videos of post-its? It's a possibility. How many hours of sleep do I get a day while I'm working on a book? I try to average at 6 to 8 hours. I hope for more, but sometimes I just wake up and my brain starts working, so I just ride that train for as long as I can. Oh, you like my BB-8? Thank you. Oh, you discovered me from my Spider-Man video on my YouTube channel. Awesome. Thanks for the support. So make sure I get the flare of her coat right. Happy Revenge of the 5th to you. Oh, you discovered me through the Green Goblin post-it. Right on. Yeah, I do have to do more post-it videos. Oh, well, keep on practicing. Hopefully your skills will improve. Any advice on how to make hair? Well, first off, look at real life. Look up photos of hair. And you want to consider the shape of the head. You don't draw a face and then you draw hair on top of that. You want to, as you saw at the beginning of my video, and if you tuned in late, when this is done, go and re-watch the beginning of the video. I drew the full head, and then halfway from the top of the head to the eye line is generally where the hairline starts, depending on the person. Some can have it further back, some can have it further forward, but general starting point there, and then the hair branches out from there. So, but looking at real life can help in drawing hair, because then you're basing it off of something real, and you can get hopefully better accuracy of your hair, or get more realism to your hair, even if you have a more stylized style like myself. All right, so let's see. Let's signify where some more of these black areas are going to be. Here on her boots. And I'm going to fill in all these areas black in a moment, but right now let's do the inks on the face. Let's push in here closer. Oops, hold on, Rig. Don't fail me now. There we go. Just pushing a little closer there so you can see the detail a little bit better. Okay. Have I ever drawn Hulk 2099? No, I have not. I have not drawn Hulk 2099. I have not watched Game of Thrones. I don't have cable, so I don't have HBO, so I don't watch Game of Thrones. Make sure I got this nose just right. Sometimes I go back in with pencil, tighten it up a little bit before I go to commit the inks. I'll make sure everything's in place. That's where I like my pencils the tightest, is on the face. Okay, and then I want to use my finest Pigma Micron, which is the 005. What type of pencil do I use when sketching? I use a Uni Kuratoga mechanical pencil. Get it from jetpens.com. And I use the pencil that holds the thinnest of leads. It's a 0.3 lead. And I use a HB softness. Does it break a lot? Yes, it can. Especially when I first started using it, I had to train my heavy hand to lighten up so that I wouldn't break as frequently. I can still break it because it is so thin, but it is great for when I need to do my teeny tiny details. And it's great for the rough sketching because I'm not going to because I don't need to pencil quite so tightly. Sorry if I'm missing your questions here. I'm putting a lot of focus here on these tiny details on the face. So I can't really look at the screen right now. But I do appreciate everyone hanging out, giving those hearts, and posting comments. Am I a fan of Saved by the Bell? I am. Yeah, I think you can consider me a fan. I actually have the only season of Saved by the Bell, the college years, on DVD. So, and I do have a Bayside Tigers t-shirt. So yeah, I guess you would say I am a fan of Saved by the Bell. Don't really watch it much anymore, I think it is on Netflix now, but I did enjoy the show back in the day. Ever draw Hellboy? Yes. In fact, I drew Hellboy for the Hero Initiative Hellboy 100 project. Do the finish her necklace there. Now we're almost done with the inks here. Let's see. I just got to finish her eyes. And what I'm thinking of doing is making the line art red for her eyes, because she's using her power. Might make for a fun effect. No, I will not draw her cross-eyed. Or at least I will not intend to draw her cross-eyed. She's not that crazy. So, little black here for the pupil. There we go. All right, so now it's time to erase. So I'm going to pull the camera back here. And make sure all the ink is dry. And then come in here and I erase before I fill in the big black areas. Because filling in the black areas, then erasing, can sometimes smudge, but oftentimes lift the intensity of the black off of the page. And then I have to go back over the black again. So I've learned ink, then erase, then fill in the black areas. Copics hate your pencils? Are you coloring from your pencil, taking your art to pencil, then coloring with Copics? From what I've learned at the Copic seminar I went to, is it's not advised for us to pencil and then color over that with our Copics, because the graphite of the pencil can infect or damage the nib, the brush nib of the Copic sketch marker. If you're referring to the Copic multiliners, then I'm sorry to hear that your pencils don't like the Copic multiliners. Yeah, the graphite is not good inside of the sketch marker tip. And unfortunately, you can replace those sketch marker tips, which is a nice thing about Copics. But yeah, it's best not to color. That's why I stopped doing the pencil color then ink, because I didn't want to damage my Copic marker tips. All right, so now we're moving to the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen to fill in the black areas of her pants. Oh, thank you for the kind words. Glad y'all are liking how Scarlet Witch is turning out here. I'm pretty happy with how she's turning out too. Are you been watching my old scopes on my YouTube channel? All right, I appreciate that. I got more scopes to come and more 3-part videos to come. There's more content to come to my YouTube channel. If you just tuned in, that's youtube.com/Todd Nauck. Do be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos to post. Oh, you're not too late. I mean, yeah, you did miss all the pencils and most of the inks here, but so glad you're here. Better late than never. How many of these brush pens do I go through? Not too many. They've got pretty good shelf life on them, from my experience. I probably change them out once a year, maybe. And that's only because the brush has worn out. The pens are refillable. You get the refill cartridges, so when it dries out, I don't have to get a new one. I just pop in a new ink cartridge, and I buy those by the bulk as well. Okay, so that's the finished ink stage there. Now let's try dropping in some color. We've just gone about an hour, but I'm really having fun here, and I want to see how she looks colored, so we're just going to keep this broadcast going. Get my photo reference back up here. And let's keep this party rocking through the colors. Are y'all in for the colors? Are y'all still with me? Which pens are refillable? I can share that with you right now. The Copic Multiliner SPs, the Pentel Pocket brush pens, and the Copic sketch markers. Those are all the refillable ones. All right, so let's see. Let's start with the power effect first, because that overlaps a lot of stuff. Make sure I erase around the eyes properly. So I'm going to start off with some pink, some RV13. Not filling in the entire swirls and swooshes, just kind of around, because I'm going to cut in with other colors here. And I want the white to help convey the effect, the white of the paper to convey the effect as well. So a little bit of pink. Let's go a little bit darker to the R85. Again, don't want to use up all the white of the paper. The white of the paper helps kind of convey the highlights. And let's come in with some R24. Be using a lot of R24 in this one. All right, that'll work for now. I might make some adjustments a little later on. Let's start filling in some skin tones, starting with the E00 here. Let's push in here for the face. Whoa, come on, Riggs. Stay with me. Oh, you wonder what happened to the rig I left at New York Comic Con? Yeah, probably some the staff at the convention center probably found it when they tried to dismantle or fold the table up. I should check Lost and Found when I get to New York Comic Con. Ask if anyone turned in a rig at the Javits Center. How do I schedule work with these scopes? I make sure I get my work done first. That's why sometimes it's a long gap in between scopes. Because my work deadlines are too tight to allow me to come and play. Coming in with some E01. A little darker shade. And then taking it to the E000. Do some blending. Some R00 here. Put a little pink in the cheeks. Around the chin and nose. Let's kick in a little R20 just for a little more vibrancy. And then blend that back in with some of the R00 again. Drop some of that same pink into the fingers as well. See, lips. Gonna start with a kind of a darker base to match her movie lip color. So some R56. Yeah. A little darker with a little R59. All right. Now the hair. Oh wait, before we get to that, let's drop in a little some of the eye makeup here. Eye makeup is a lot of fun to color, especially on a character like Scarlet Witch. First, I want to shadow out her face with some warm gray. I'm going to drop the shadows in first. Sorry about that. Now I want try some cool gray. Around the eyes. And let's come in with a little bit of neutral gray. That was a warm 1, then a cool 3, and now some neutral 4. All right, now to the hair. The hair. So she's got several shades of brown going on in her hair. So I want to start, what do I want to start with? Let's kind of get a base going here. So I want to pull with the direction of the hair. Oh, thanks, man. Glad you like the hair. Hair is a lot of fun to draw, especially long hair, which is why part of the reason why I chose Scarlet Witch to draw tonight, because I wanted to draw some long hair. And that was some E25 there I was starting with. Let's darken it up with some E57. Could I do a commission with Freddie Williams II? How would that work? How would you envision that going down, since we're both pencilers and inkers? I mean, I love Freddie's work. Just curious to see what you had in mind. So now I'm coming in with some E34 for some of the kind of lighter shades of brown. Any one of the Herculoids would make for a good scope. I agree. I do enjoy the Herculoids. Remember when the Herculoids teamed up with Space Ghost, and that blew my 7-year-old mind. 7, 8 years old. It's like that's probably my first crossover. Was the Herculoids Space Ghost episode. How long do I think it took me to perfect working with Copics? I think I'm still learning. I think there's still so many things to learn. It's taken me about 6 years to get to this stage. I've been using Copic markers since 2009. So I guess I'm pushing 7 years I've been working with them. So it's all been about trial and error and experimentation for me. So thank you so much for the compliment on my Copic work. I definitely appreciate that. So that's some E15 I'm coming in here with. Let's see. Do I use the E84? Yeah, so now I'm coming in with some E84 for a different shade of brown. It's a little bit darker and a different space on the brown spectrum, but it kind of gives us those multiple layers and highlights and streaks that are in her hair. Sometimes they're pretty subtle streaks, subtle colorings, but let's come in with some E13 to round it out. Oops, sorry about that. What color are her lips? Her lips are R56 with some R59. Okay. Going to use a little bit of warm gray here. Let's drop in some warm 5 for a little bit of shadowing. A little darkening here through some areas. Kind of create some depth. How do I keep my Copics from smearing my black ink? I take it you're experiencing some black ink smearing with your Copics? Is that what you're experiencing? Okay. I have a couple of questions to ask you first. What type of pens do you ink with, and what type of paper are you using? You're using Bristol board? Okay, that's good. What type of pens are you inking with? And you're inking with microns. Okay, that's good to know. I have no idea why your Copics are smearing your ink work, because I'm using microns on Bristol board here, and I don't really seem to have that problem. So coming in with some R27 here for a base of her coat. I would say make sure your inks are fully dry. Maybe give them 15 minutes after inks before you go into colors. Are you using, maybe it's the type of Bristol board? Are you using Strathmore Bristol board? Are you using smooth or rough stuff? I use smooth Strathmore or Canson Bristol boards. Other than that, I don't know why you're experiencing so much smearing in your line art. Okay, I use smooth. I love the smooth. I think smooth is my favorite. Smooth is definitely my favorite. But I don't really encounter too much smearing. I mean, I'm not, as we see here, I'm not really encountering much smearing or any smearing at all yet. So, so why you're experiencing smearing, I just don't know. No, I don't use any Raphael brushes for my inks. I use, pretty much I'm a pen guy. But I would like to get some of those Raphaels. I know some of my inker friends use the Raphaels for some inking textures. Yeah, this is the movie version Scarlet Witch, not the comic book Scarlet Witch. So yeah, we don't have the headpiece for this illustration. Yeah, the headpiece is pretty classic. Now some R56, since there's more of a kind of a burgundy shade to her uniform. Oh, well, good night to you, Corey. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry, gang, I keep forgetting to pull up the board so you can see the end of the jacket. Oh, thank you for the kind words. You rock too. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, gang. Now some R59, an even darker shade of burgundy. You're drawing X23 red on. Hope you're having fun with that. I appreciate the kind words. I'm glad my work inspires you. Glad you find it inspirational. Thanks for supporting my art, man. How often do I refill my markers? Pretty much, for as much as I use them, probably at least once after every con. It depends on which markers I use the most. So my flesh tones, or like the E, my Caucasian flesh tones, my browns, and my reds and blues and yellows, I refill pretty frequently. I don't really have a preference, male over female, when it comes to drawing different superheroes, but it really depends on the character. So some characters it just all depends on what I want to draw that day. And like I'd mentioned at the top of the show, so I forgot to color that other glove. I'm going to have to go back with all those other colors. So this is some R85 now, kind of blending in these shades of red. Get this other side of her glove squared away. Just reusing all those colors I used for her jacket and her other glove. Just get everything caught up. Okay, let's see. Now I need some warm gray here. Let's go with a warm 5 for now. Drop some shadows in the back part here of her, the inside of her jacket. Yeah, so I will be bringing in some grays for the pants. It'll be a different shade of gray, probably a neutral gray. In fact, let's go ahead and move into the pants area now. So start with some neutral 6. Is there any comic I'd want to redraw after developing over my career? It'd kind of be fun to revisit Young Justice and see how that would look if I were to draw it now. Okay, now we're going to downgrade to a neutral 4. I'm leaving the center of this big black area open for white. I didn't go all the way in with the 6. I want to leave room for the 4. And now with the 4, I want to make sure I leave a nice stripe of white to give a sense of a shine. And I'm leaving the outside here white for reflected light. How do I know? Well, just pretty much, how do I know where to leave the white for the jacket? Pretty much I'm just considering the center of the jacket, of the arm, where the light would be, and then a little bit here on the outside, just like I did here with the jacket, and with the tails of her jacket, and then the same with her pants there, leaving those parts wide open. And some of that comes from just studying real life clothing and lighting, and kind of getting inspired by real life. That's why I encourage people to study. A lot of this is about self-study. I'm going to add a little more gray around the eyes. So I'm using a little neutral 3 there. And let's color the actual irises. It's one of the last few steps here. So I'm using some R24. A little R56 for a little bit of depth here. Little cool 0 for the white part of the eyes, putting a little gray in there to round them out a little bit. How many years did it take for me to get to this stage of my art? pretty much all my life. Pretty much art is a journey for us, and every illustration is a step on that journey. So I've been walking this journey a long time, and I hope to continue to learn and evolve as I continue to get older and continue to study and try different art media, I should say. I definitely don't draw like I did when I was 7 or 16 or 25. Let's see, I want to get, let's see. Let's go to the neutral 5 here. There's a dark part underneath the laces of her corset. So I'm going to cut in with some, whoops, let's keep that on screen. Actually, the neutral 5's not dark enough. Let's make that a neutral 6. Neutral 6 under each, in between the spaces of the laces. Kind of gives it some pop there. Yeah, we've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes, and we're on the tail end here. So what I want to do is just add a little color to her eyebrows, since they're kind of wispy. Just adding a little E25, one of my base shades for her brown hair. I need to color her pendant, which using some C for that, some cool too. And then for the inner part of it, we'll do some C5. Since it's pretty much a black pendant. Okay, so let's drop in a quick background element here, or maybe I should just leave her as is. Maybe no background. Oh, I noticed one part I forgot to color in. That's her sleeves. Do I have any kids? Nope, no kids. Just me and the wifey. Oh, and I forgot to color her fingernails. Go back to my Pigma Micron marker. Make these black. Leaving a little white down the center for a shine. Cacao. There we go. That looks right. How many commissions do I do in a year? Mostly they're convention commissions. My studio commissions, I've not been able to do many because my work deadlines take precedence. So, let's see, I want to put a little more shadow underneath that hair. Shadow out the knuckles a little bit. We'll carry that over into the fingers a little bit. Yeah, we're going to put in a background shape. I just really like having a background shape, so we're going to use my triangle. I'm going to drop a rectangle in here using the broad tip of my black Copic sketch marker. See if we can get this whole thing on screen here. See, do I want that to cover the... Yeah, let's do that, because then I can do more power effects if I make the rectangle go over her power signature. want to say thanks for everyone tuning in for so long. I know this has been a longer Periscope broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hope you've been able to stick with me as well when this uploads to YouTube later on. All right. Thanks, gang. Glad you've enjoyed the broadcast so far. We're on the tail end here. We'll be finishing this one up pretty soon. After I finish this background shape, and then I'll use my gel pen to add some little smaller details and effects. And this one will be done. Okay, so I've just about got all the black in there. Let's drop a little more black here around her energy signature. So I can come in with the white gel pen. For some effects. Okay. What advice would I give an artist trying to use Copics for the first time? Check out my Copic videos on my YouTube channel. First off, I share a lot of tips and tricks there. And secondly, I'd say don't be afraid to experiment. A lot of this comes with trial and error. So I'm using the Uniball Signo white gel pen to add some little sparkles here around her energy signature, kind of kicking off into the blackness. So back to the Copic question is just to have fun with it, to not be afraid to experiment with them, and you'll see I kind of talk about this in my Copic videos on my YouTube channel about experimenting and some of the experiments I've done and how I figured some things out on how the colors kind of merge together. And remember that Copics are blendable. They blend without really infecting. It's very rare for them to infect the color, the tip of the lighter colors that you blend with. You know how like with cheap markers, if you get black or red inside the tip of the yellow marker, that yellow marker is like just jacked up and worthless. Or at least if you use the yellow, you get black and red streaks coming in with it. You're really not going to experience that with Copics. And if for some reason you do, well, you can just buy a new tip and replace the tip. You don't have to replace the whole marker, you just replace the tip. And the tips need to be replaced every now and again. You can kind of tell when the brush tip gets a little too hinky there. It just kind of isn't giving you the control or the solid color that it was before. So let's put some sparkles there in her hex sphere. And then the hex swirls. And even in here, sparkling into the gloves of her hand. On the jacket a little bit. And then down into the bottom part here of the black. Not as much because there's not as much hex floating down this way. Just a little bit, like right through here. Just kind of cutting in with some white through the white highlights a little bit for a little bit of a texture. Just more eye candy than anything. Just stuff for the eye to play with. Bring that down into the bottom part of her jacket as well. Put a little shine on the buckles of her corset. A little metal brads there. Or eyelets, I guess those would be called. A little highlight on the tip of the nose. A little highlight on the other side of the eye. A few white highlights of hair. I think I need a new marker here, or a new gel pen. This one's getting a little ragged. Not giving me quite the vibrancy of line. Oh yeah, it's much better. Kind of fade out from the bottom here. Some white highlights on the wrinkles, on the pendant. Some stray sparkles dropping down to use some of the black there. Okay, I just want to finish off with a little extra neutral gray shadow here on the coarse it a little bit, just give a little more depth. Cut into the jacket a little bit. There we go. All right, let's, I think we are done, gang. And there we go. Finished. After almost 2 hours. This one was almost a 2-hour video. Oh, hey, how's it going, gang? Thanks so much. Thanks for the kind words. Again, if you want to see this on my social networks, I'll have her posted probably tomorrow. So you can see her on my Twitter account, my Instagram account, my Tumblr account, or my Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page. If you're on any of those social networks, come over and follow me, and you can see more artwork posted on a fairly regular, if not daily basis. Thanks so much for spending time with me this evening. I hope y'all had fun. I hope y'all get a chance to see Captain America Civil War. It's a really fun movie. I really enjoyed myself. I don't want to oversell it, but I think it's a fun movie. I think they did a good job with it, and it's got a lot of heroes in it. So thanks so much for hanging out. And I will hopefully see y'all again in the near future. I hope you all have a great night, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you have a great Mother's Day. All the best, gang. Take care.